Hey guys, we're going to do another chapter 5 video here. 5.7 is our topic, and we are going to work on how can I graph a system of inequalities in standard form. Doesn't that sound fun? We're going to mix standard form with inequalities with systems. So we're going to kind of take a lot of the different things we've learned this year so far and put them all together. That's the plan. So quick reminder here, we know what standard form is. So when we talk about standard form, it's my least favorite for writing an equation of a line. It's the one that looks like ax plus by equals c. The ABCs are actually numbers, but we usually end up moving the equation around and changing it to y equals mx plus b. The only thing that's going to be different today is we're going to be replacing that equal sign with a less than or greater than symbol. So I say we jump right into these and give them a try. Let's do it. Here is our first problem today. We're going to write example 1, and I kind of cheated ahead of this video. It's not really cheating, but I already set up my graph and kind of got it ready because I knew that's what I was going to be doing today. So you can pause your video and you can set up your graph if you want. Here's the system that we're going to be working on today. We want to graph 3x plus 2y is less than negative 4. At the same time, we also want to graph x minus 2y is greater than or equal to negative 4. And we want to see what does this graph look like. So that is our problem today, you guys, or that is our first problem at least, our first example. And what I'm going to do is try to organize my work and try to make this make some sense. So first off, I don't like standard form. I'm going to fix both equations. So this is my game plan. I'm actually going to be rewriting these equations into y equals mx plus b. I want slope intercept. I'm going to put that up here. Slope intercept. That's the form that I actually want. I'd rather have it in slope intercept form. So to do this, I'm going to have to do a little bit of work here. So let's take the first equation, 3x plus 2y is less than negative 4. Let's put a little line down the inequality here. And let's isolate y by itself. So I'm going to take the 3x away to the other side, make it a negative 3x. I'm going to get 2y is less than negative 3x and a minus 4. Negative 3x and a minus 4. And then we're going to divide the 2 away from everything to get rid of that 2, which we don't want. So we're going to have y is less than negative 3 divided by 2 is negative 3 halves x. Minus 4 divided by 2 is minus 2. All right, there we go. That's our y equals mx plus b. So that looks a little bit nicer. So that's the first one, which I'm now going to write up here. Y is less than negative 3 halves x minus 2. Now let's rewrite the second equation, which was x minus 2y. I'll write that here. X minus 2y is greater than or equal to negative 4. Same strategy. We put the line down the inequality. We are going to isolate y by itself, so we're going to take that x away first as our first strategy. When I do so, I still have a minus 2y. It's greater than or equal to negative x and a minus 4. Negative x minus 4. Now I'm going to divide that negative 2 away. So divide the negative 2, divide the negative 2, divide the negative 2 to get rid of it. Do you remember the trick? Do you remember what you do when you divide by a negative sign? You got to remember that. You got to flip the symbol. Remember when you divide by a negative, you flip the sign. So it's actually now going to be y is less than or equal to. It just changed. Negative x divided by a negative 2 turns into a positive. That'd be positive 1/2 x. Negative 4 divided by a negative 2 turns into a positive 2. And there, my friends, is our second equation. Y is less than or equal to 1/2 x plus 2. You got to remember that flip the symbol thing though. So now I can go back up here. Let's see. Y, what do we get? Is less than or equal to 1/2 x plus 2. Awesome. I'm excited about this. So now what's my next step? Well, my next step really is doing all the graphing work. So what I'm going to do is kind of cover up some of this space just so it all fits on my screen here. And I'm going to do my extra work on this extra piece of paper. Now if I was you, I'd just go down lower in my notebook or over to the next page, but I'm trying to fit everything on the screen. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with each line and just kind of get the initial setup. So if it's y is less than negative 3 halves x minus 2, I'll start at minus 2, and I'll have a negative 3 halves slope. So I got to go down 3. 1, 2, 3 over 2. 1, 2, 3 over 2. Geez. How about I work back up 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, back 2. 1, 2, 3, back 2. Just to give myself something here. And then I'm going to grab a ruler and probably just lightly, gently connect this together with a pencil. I don't really want to do this dark because I'm not sure if it's going to be dotted or solid yet. So just kind of a light sketch, something like that. All right, I'll even lay my pencil here. That is the line we get to test and figure out our shading for. So it is time to set up our tests. And we're going to run 3 tests. We're going to run the lower region on the left, the top region on the right, and then the line itself. So down in this lower region, I don't know, you could pick anything you want. Like, how about, let's see, well, we've got a 3 halves. We're going to have to deal with a fraction. That's in halves, that's 2s, so I want something divisible by 2. How about I go to like negative 4 and negative 2 right there. So I'm going to test negative 4 and negative 2. That'll be on the left side. On the right, I'm going to go for my favorite one, 0, 0. And then, let's see, I'll move that so I can actually circle it. On the actual line itself, it's kind of up to us. Maybe I'll test this 2, negative 5 right here. 2, negative 5. All right, so we've got 3 different tests. I'm going to divide my work up, give myself some space to kind of show what I'm doing here. I'm going to be testing each equation. So remember what the equation was. We're doing this first one. Y is less than negative 3 halves x minus 2. Y is less than negative 3 halves x minus 2. Y is less than negative 3 halves x minus 2. All right, so let's put in our points. So the first one, x is negative 4, y is negative 2. So here's the negative 2. Here is the negative 4. So it's going to be negative 2 is less than negative 3 halves times negative 4 minus 2. Now this is why I picked these even numbers, the 2 and the 4. I picked it because I knew the fraction was going to kind of become a little bit of a problem. So what is 3 times 4? Well, it's 12. And a negative 3 times a negative 4 is a positive 12. So we have positive 12. And we're going to divide by 2. So it's going to be negative 2 is less than 12 divided by 2 is 6 minus the 2, which is right here. And 6 minus 2 is 4. So we have negative 2 is less than 4. Okay, next one, we'll put in some zeros. I like this one better. Negative 3 halves times 0 minus 2, which we all know it doesn't matter if that's a fraction or whatever, it's just going to be 0. So 0 is less than negative 2. And then for the line itself, we're going to have a 2 and a negative 5, which is our y value. So here is our negative 5 is less than negative 3 halves times 2 minus 2. Let's do the fraction again. Negative 3 times 2 is a negative 6. Divided by 2 is a negative 3. So we have negative 5 is less than negative 3, and then we have minus 2. And minus 2, negative 3 and minus 2 is negative 5. So negative 5 is less than negative 5. Oof, we did it. Okay, let's see which ones pass and which ones fail now. Kind of get back to what our plan was. So here's our line. We know that negative 2 is less than 4. We know this is true. This is a pass. So that's good news. So the one that is out here, this one passed. We know 0 is not less than negative 2. That doesn't make sense for 0 to be less than a negative number, so that's a fail. So my lovely point at 0, 0 that I like so much failed. And then we know 2 and negative 5, when we tested it, negative 5 is not less than negative 5, it's equal to negative 5. And we don't have that equal sign, so another fail. So that tells us that our line, since our line just failed, we know it's dotted. So why don't we get in there with a ruler now and actually kind of make this look dotted and a little more distinct. So I'm going to go in there with my ruler and actually draw my dotted line now with a marker. So I'm confident in my answer. I'm going to make it pretty obvious to whoever reads my graph that I feel like I know what I'm doing. Draw my arrows here. Shading wise, you can tell where I'm going to shade with my pencil. It's going to be everything down below where this point passed. So I'm just going to really lightly shade with my pencil here. If you want to use colored pencils, I highly recommend it. It's kind of nice to do this in color. It makes it easy to see and kind of nice and neat. And then there we go. We've got that first line done. So now we get to move on to our second line. So our second line is y is less than or equal to 1/2 x plus 2. So we are going to be starting the graph at plus 2, which is right here. And we have a 1/2 slope, so we're going up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. Probably back. I'm going to go down 1, back 2, down 1, back 2, down 1, back 2. There we go. And so with my pencil and my ruler, I'll lightly connect this line together to be more like this, right there. And now my entire focus has to be on that line. Now that's where this gets a little bit tricky. I got to keep the focus on the correct line. So I'm going to focus on that pencil. That's my plan. Don't get distracted. Kind of pretend the entire background of what we just graphed isn't even there. That's the best way to do this. So now I basically have covered up the last previous work that I just did, just so it all fits on the screen. But again, if I was you, I'd just go to the next page if I was running out of room. And what I'm going to do is now focus on that pencil line and run my tests. So I'm going to set it up again, test. This time my 3 tests are focused on the second line. So looking at the line here, I've got the top half and the bottom half, the left and the right. On the top, I can pick anything I want. Again, I have a fraction, I have a 1/2. So preferably something divided by 2 would be easiest. So if I go out into this space, how about we go to like 2, 6, way up here. I mean, that would work, and it's even numbers that divide by 2. I feel like it'd be easy, 2, 6. Obviously, the below space, I go for my favorite point, 0, 0. And then on the line itself, let's move that pencil. Maybe I'll do the like 2, 3 right here on the line. Any point really works, so 2, 3. And what I'm going to do is put my pencil back so I don't forget that's where I'm focusing. I'm going to break this up into some organized space, make a table here. I'm going to run my 3 different tests now. And my 3 tests are all on the equation y is less than or equal to 1/2 x plus 2. So y is less than or equal to 1/2 x plus 2. And y is less than or equal to 1/2 x plus 2. We are going to test each of these points. Each of them have like an xy coordinate. So 2, 6, that means I'm going to have a 6 here and a 2 here. So it's going to be 6 is less than or equal to 1/2 times 2 plus 2. This is why I like the 1/2 in the even numbers. So 2 times 1 is 2, divided by 2 is 1. Think of it as half of 2 is, this is basically just 1. So I have 6 is less than or equal to 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 6 is less than or equal to 3. Over here, I'm going to do 0, 0 real fast. 1/2 times 0 plus 2. Well, 1/2 times 0 is just 0 plus 2. So 0 is less than or equal to 2. And then for this one, I'll be doing x is 2 and y is 3. So here's the 3. Here's the 2. I'm going to have 3 is less than or equal to 1/2 times 2 plus 2. It's a little weird how I wrote that. Half of 2 is 1, so 1 plus 2 is what I have. So 3 is less than or equal to 1 plus 2. 3 is less than or equal to 1 plus 2 is 3. There we go. Coolness. Okay, so which ones pass, which ones fail? Well, the first one fails. 6 isn't less than 3. That stood out to me right away when I was doing my work, so there's a fail. And I'll slash it out. Which means, which point was this? It was the 2, 6, so that's the one that's way up here. That's my fail point. I'll cross that out. That means this one probably passes. 0 is less than 2. That's true. That's a pass. So this time the 0, 0 did pass. And then 3 isn't less than 3, but it is equal, and we do have an equal sign. So this is another pass, which means the line, the point on the line just passed. So again, I'm going to grab my ruler, And I'm going to connect my line, and now I'm going to make it solid. Now I'm ready for a solid line. So here we go. We're going to make this nice solid line. And it'll look something like this. For my shading, let's see, focusing on that line where the pencil is, the top part failed and the 0, 0 passed. So I'm going to be shading down below this time on the below side. So let me get a pencil over here. There we go. Better pencil. So I'm going to be shading this direction this time. And this is where we get our answer. Where is the overlap happening? Well, that dark overlap is occurring in this space. So I'm going to start darkening this up because that is my solution, is where that overlap is. So I'm going to darken that in. And then I'm going to go back in with my eraser since I didn't use a colored pencil today. I'm just going to go in and kind of lightly erase the part that I don't need because that is not part of my solution. So I like to kind of go in there and just do some erasing. And I know it's kind of a lot of work to do all that, but really that's just helping us track down this final solution, so this dark shaded region. And then I think we pretty much got it. What am I forgetting? I guess I'm forgetting to label my lines. So up by the top arrow, the first one, I'm going to use the original equation that we started with. So I'm going to label it 3x plus 2y is less than negative 4. And then for this line, I'm going to use the original equation, which was x minus 2y is greater than or equal to negative 4. And that's it. We've got our graph, and it looks pretty dang nice, actually. One dotted line, one solid line, and one dark shaded region. And what makes this a level 4 when we're being graded on this is we're showing all of our process. We've got all of the tested points on there. It's quite organized. If you go back and look at your work, hopefully yours is pretty nicely organized as well. And that's really what kind of bumps us up to that level 4 currently with these problems, is just showing the process, trying not to do it up in our heads. All right, so let's move on to our next problem, you guys. So to end our video today, we're going to end with a you try problem, because this is the best way to improve upon your own skills and make sure you actually have this down. So I'm going to give you a tricky system here. I'm going to ask you to try to graph this system. X minus y is greater than 2, and y is greater than or equal to negative 1. So at this point, if I was you, I'd hit the pause button on my device and I would try to do this problem 100% on my own first. And then when you're ready, unpause the video to see if you did it correctly. So go ahead and do that now. Take your time and work on this, and it'll be a great test to see if you're kind of ready for doing this independently. All right, go for it. Okay, so I'm hoping you're unpausing the video and you're kind of ready to do your check now. There's the first step, which was you had to change out a standard form. So when you rearrange this, that negative y, it's like a negative 1 that you're going to be dividing by. It flips the sign. So you end up with y is less than x minus 2. It better be a less than symbol because it flipped. Now this one's already in standard form, if you want, slope-intercept form, but if you want, you can kind of think of it as y is greater than or equal to 0x minus 1, a slope of 0, and a negative 1 is where the y-intercept is. And that helps you with graphing, so let me show you the solution to your graph that hopefully matches what you got. So here is our line that had to be moved out of standard form, turned out to be dotted. 0, 0 failed for it, so you ended up shading down below. And then here's y is greater than or equal to negative 1. It's a flat line with a slope of 0. It's not going up, it's not going down. And it's solid, and you shade above, so the dark shaded region ends up in this corner right here. So check your graph, see how you did, and if you made any mistakes, maybe pause the video, go back and try it again. And yeah, we'll work on it in class some more. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day. Bye.